Oh, hello, and welcome to Hulu's Only Murders in the Building official podcast. I am your host, Michael Cyril Creighton. I play your favorite trio's fourth wheel, keeper of the building's secrets, Howard Morris. We're dissecting episodes, sharing behind-the-scenes stories, and playing games with some of the amazing actors, writers, and crew from Season 5 of Only Murders in the Building. Now streaming on Hulu and Hulu on Disney+.
We're all here for one reason, yes? Yes, to give you the opportunity to keep us out of your podcast before we sue you for libel.
Today's show is all about Episode 4, Dirty Birds. We're talking to showrunner and co-creator John Hoffman about our brand new billionaire trio. We're talking with the incomparable Christoph Waltz about how ancient Bastide really is.
Haven't cooked in decades.
And costume designer Dana Covarrubias joins us to talk about blending the old, the new, and everything in between to show a character's personality through style.
These bones are remarkable. You just need to change everything.
But first, a quick recap of Episode 4. So if you haven't watched, just stop and watch it, okay? I will be here when you get back.
Hello,
What the hell?
I'm Lester.
We meet the Arconia's new robotic doorman, Lester. Howard has been hired to train him. Upstairs, Oliver has built his own murder board and recruited Vince Fish, Lester's old birding buddy, to decode the birds' names in Lester's ledger. Our trio releases their Season 5 podcast teaser, hoping to bait Jay into responding. Then, a video from Jay arrives. He's coming over at 7 to clear things up.
Hey, podcasters, sounds like you have some thoughts.
Jay shows up. Then Camilla. Then Bash.
Hello.
All three say they're here to clear Jay's name, or at least protect their own. All three billionaires claim Nikki was high on cocaine and cut off Jay's finger in a rage. Later, the trio gets big news.
Wonderful wants to sign us.
Wonderfy has accepted Mabel's pitch.
This is your studio.
Whoa. Really? Okay.
Yeah.
They tour their fancy new studio, but when Mabel flips through her photos, she notices the severed finger points the wrong way.
Which way do your pointers curve?
Jay lied. Then comes the blow. The podcast executive says they can't investigate the wealthy trio because they're the new owners of Wandify. Tricky. We are almost halfway through the season now, if you can believe it. So this is a perfect time to check in with our co-creator and showrunner and guardian angel, John Hoffman.
Guardian Angel. Hi, Michael.
Hi. Let's start with my favorite story related to the show. How did you discover me?
Oh, wow. And I really did.
You did.
I discovered you.
You've made my life.
That's very kind because you were very successful before I discovered you.
True.
So Howard Morris is aptly named after one of the executive producers of Grace and Frankie, who I worked with. And I thought, well, that's a nice homage.
Yeah.
But then the character himself became very fun to write. And so every great character actor in New York came in to audition for this. And it was Jamie Babbitt, who had worked with you, and said, you should see Michael for this.
And I had actually gone in for a smaller role in the show.
I didn't know that.
Oh, you didn't know this? I auditioned for Dr. Grover Stanley, but I also know this happened with a lot of actors, right? Like Jackie auditioned for Ursula.
Oh, yeah, she did.
Teddy.
Yeah.
Teddy Kaluka auditioned for Teddy Demas.
Yes, he did.
And
yeah, he's great.
Poppy, Adina, auditioned for Cinda Canning, right?
Yeah.
So that's funny how that happened. So I had auditioned for a smaller part, and then Jamie recommended me for Howard, right?
Jamie recommended you for Howard, and that's funny you say that because it was one of those things. I had this opportunity with the show was just like a dream, but it was also an opportunity to work with my dream type of actor, a New York character actor. Okay, maybe not here, but we've got to find something.
Right.
And so this was Jamie suggesting that. We were like, okay, great. But it was all you, kid.
Oh,
it was
nice.
all you. It was it was an audition process unlike
You're making my
most.
glasses fog up. Again,
It really was, though.
Yeah.
It really was. And it was, I would be remiss not to say there were incredible actors coming in to play Howard. And I loved each one of them. And it was unquestionable when you auditioned. We had a Zoom audition where I think you did a perfect read. And then I gave you almost a complete different 180 turn suggestion.
Yeah, you said
just to
make him
see.
menacing. Put a little menace in there. Make him suspicious, I think.
And then you did a subsequent perfect and hilarious read. But it was, again, just one of those things like that was dazzling. And then it was settled and no question. And then we got to bring him into the fold as much as possible.
This is my favorite story. As I said, we're almost halfway through the season, and we're talking a little bit about casting just now.
Yeah.
We meet some new characters in this episode.
We
the
do.
billionaires, played by 3 ridiculously amazing actors.
So I'm noticing 3 of the richest people in the world are here in our little building.
I'm top 3, they're top 20.
Sebastian on many lists, I'm 4.
How did you land on these 3 actors for these 3 characters?
A process. As always, you make a list, and then I tend to winnow it down to like the dream list. And I think, well, I don't know, maybe there's a chance someone like Renee Zellweger, someone like Logan Lerman, Christoph Waltz would say maybe available and maybe just be okay with coming for a few months. This is a challenging thing to kind of cast because these are characters that move across the entire season. So it's attractive because there's enough meat on the bone for a brilliant actor, hopefully, if we can craft it right for them. But it's very much a big ask. And so that's the beauty of having Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez, and Meryl Streep dropping by, and it starts to feel like a place that people want to come and have some fun and have a great hang and work with the greats. Amazing.
And we also got the great Beanie Feldstein this season.
Oh my God. Mabel Mora?
What was that like, creating this character of Thee, this sort of pop sensation?
I remember the day in the writer's room that we came up with Althea. I don't know if Thea was actually the name, but it was the notion that Selena Gomez, I'm going to call it Selena Gomez, as Mabel Mora, would have a childhood friend that there was, they were very close and then it broke off. And there was a wound there that was formed and also reverberated, I think, through Mabel's life and her resistance to finding friends her own age.
Yeah.
But then the delight in Selena Gomez having a friend come back who's now the reigning pop star on the charts.
Yeah.
And is confronted as Mabel Mora with a pop star, Selena Gomez. It all just felt, every now and then we like to get a little meta
Just a little
on the
meta.
show, just
Yeah.
a touch. And it felt like a pop star that I was wanting to see more than maybe what might be expected.
Yeah, and
in
I feel like
certain
we
ways.
get what you and the writers did so beautifully with Thee, which we'll see maybe a little bit later in the season, is like we often meet characters we think we know what they're like. We thought we knew who Bunny was.
All in favor of evicting all 3 members of Murder, She Wrote.
Until
Right.
we realize she has a big beating heart.
Don't think I've said it yet, so thank you.
Bunny, you're too kind.
And a lot of vulnerability. Same with Uma.
You know, a real friend would have cared, but Oliver only cares about his show.
I'm sorry to hear that. It's tough to lose friends at our age.
Same with Howard.
All right, don't laugh. But I've always wanted to be a children's librarian.
I'm a librarian.
Shut up.
That's our slogan.
And now we have this new character, Thee, and she's doing it like no one else. It's really, really, really great.
Talk about, there's this thing of sunny and cloudy that Mabel and Thea have. When they were kids, they did this little thing. And the joke, of course, is that, the guys are saying, well, clearly you were cloudy, and to Mabel. And Mabel says, no, I was sunny. But they obviously were playing the opposites of, but that's Beanie, in my mind. She has this lit from within kind of energy that's not false. And it's not overdone. She is pure joy in the way she expresses herself. So the words she's using can be a bit like, I don't like her. Yeah. But she's saying them in such a cute, funny way that and friendly and well-intentioned. And I thought that was a really funny spin on a character like that
she's
too.
like joyfully condescending.
Joyfully condescending and everything. I really care about you because you live in such a dumpster.
No, don't feel bad. It's so hard to get noticed when you're indie, right?
I've always been drawn to characters with big, sort of strong thumbprints that you can recognize, and then underneath it find particulars and details about their behavior that feel memorable.
Yeah, like 5 episodes down the line, often a character on this show, you'll be like, oh, that's why they're like that.
Yeah.
And that's nice. That's satisfying. I think that's one of the cool things about being an actor on the show is that you never know where your character is going to go, or I never do. I think a lot of us never do. And then the writers and you guys always come through. It never seems for naught. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I get a new character to act with this episode, this season. Lester. Sorry. Lester the robot.
I'm Lester.
Look how moved everyone is. Meet our new doorman. We named him after the dead one in tribute. How did you land on adding a robot to the cast?
Well, again, thematically is where I always go sort of across the season, and what are we saying, and this infiltration of technology that, is brought about, in all of our lives now.
Yeah.
But also, through the character of Bastide and his AI technology work and his longevity dives and all of those things.
In the right hands, technology should keep the past alive, preserved, like I'm preserved every night, floating in my tank of collagen.
So this felt like the Arconia is also being encroached upon by that in certain ways, as many of the buildings in New York are. We're talking about cars that are going to drive themselves, and what does that mean for the workforce of the old school.
You can't go into like a drugstore without checking yourself out.
Right.
Everything is too easy.
Everything's becoming automated and all of that, and the notion of knowing that our season was going to be built around a beloved doorman, a classic job, a classic figure in New York history and across major metropolises. I think that was what the opportunity was, to sort of say, what does that look like technologically? And of course it looks like a robot. And then the idea of pairing our favorite person to pair with any sort of companion of any kind.
Dog, pig,
that's not
robot.
human.
Yes. I'm up for it. I'm game.
Yeah, I know you're very game, and I thought the relationship and the admissions that could happen in the sort of humanization of this technology would be best seen as a conduit through Howard.
Yeah, well, it makes sense. Like lonely men turn to technology. They always have.
And they get wrapped up.
Yeah, get wrapped up in it. Well, he's a lovely addition to the cast, and I can't wait for him to win a supporting actor Emmy.
And there's a voice in there, too, that is very
are we allowed to
intriguing.
say this?
We can't say who the voice is, I don't think. But we
can't?
can say that there is a nice new mystery for discerning viewers around the voice of Lester Robot. But there might be a little mystery around who that voice is.
Do your work, Internet.
Or who that voice belongs to.
Yeah.
Maybe.
There's a big opera theme in this season, right?
There is,
How long has that been in your mind, the sort of idea of opera and the Arconia?
It was teed up a little bit at the end of the previous season. Our brilliant composer, Sid Kozla,
I love him.
and I talked about where we were going in the next season. And, if you listen closely, there's this gorgeous singing at the end of the previous season when Lester is discovered in the fountain. And it's this operatic voice and tone that he wrote and worked with the singer, and which is gorgeous. And so that was all teeing up the notion that Lester's wife was an opera singer and wanted to be an opera singer and loved it. It felt also deeply New York.
Yeah.
And having the Met so intrinsic to sort of the cultural sort of center of New York, and an opportunity. Again, each season we try to do a sort of nod, sort of culturally, artistically within the things that make New York, New York.
Yeah, I love that. You really are thinking ahead. Just peppering that little opera in it's
sometimes they line up. Sometimes they're like, oh, we don't do that thing.
So we're now in the middle of the season. Without giving too much away, can you let audience members know what they have to look forward to coming up in the back end of the season?
Lots of twists, lots of turns, and I think also determining what is at the core of the mystery here. What are these billionaires really doing? What are they up to? Is a question that should hang over everything. And how does it tie into the murder investigation, if it is going to tie into it at all?
Yeah.
What is the driving force behind what they're wanting?
Yeah. Is money really making this world go round?
Yeah. And how much of a game is it for them who really hold the levers to a lot of the way we're all going to be living?
I'm excited to watch the rest. I haven't seen them yet. It's going to be real fun. And thank you for being here. I think we're going to check in with you later in the season.
Really?
Yes, I think so. And you'll probably be wearing this same exact thing. And now, Michael Cyril Creighton on Howard Francis Morris. Because Jonathan, his boyfriend, is out of town and his animals have bonded, making him feel like a third wheel, and he's not getting the attention he feels he deserves from the trio, Howard does what most lonely men do and turns to technology for comfort. He starts finding purpose in the form of Lester, our logic-engineered secure tenant robot.
My greatest challenge is my unsettling effect on humans.
Well, I've seen The Terminator, so I'm on Team Machine. We also learn that Howard is a giant Fee fan, and he has dance moves for days. I'm gonna save the rest of them for myself, but there were many, many dance moves.
Just stopping by for a drink, Bash.
No. I'm here because they're investigating you. Naturally, I've been having you followed. I knew you tried to pin it on me.
Bashsteed is a special kind of billionaire. We don't know how old he really is, but it's somewhere between 65 and 172. Now, because he was calling in all the way from Germany, I spoke to the man who brought Bashsteed to life, Christoph Waltz, from my living room. I remember when John told us who was cast as the billionaires, and my jaw dropped. It's an embarrassment of riches having you and Renee and Logan on the show. I just sort of wondered, how did you get involved? How did you playing Bash come about?
Frankly, I have no clue. Somehow it came up, and I was, as per usual, extremely skeptical and suspicious. I said, why do they want me? And that's so. It's not a rare thing for me to be hyper skeptical before I start something.
Did you watch the show before?
Well, I saw 3 episodes.
Okay.
You know. And it's funny when everyone knows the show. They hold it in the highest regards, and they think it is unusual. And, all of which is true.
Yeah.
But well, I guess it allows you to drop in and out.
We're lucky that way. We get some of the best because the time commitment's not crazy. You're not like
Yeah,
you don't have to do 7 seasons. You can come in, play with us for a season, and then be gone.
Lovely. Fantastic.
I always think of you as one of our greatest dramatic actors, obviously.
Thank you. That's very kind of you.
Did your skepticism have anything to do with the fact that this is such a comedy-forward project, or how did it feel jumping into a comedy project like this?
This kind of comedy is something for comedians, I thought. It doesn't have a very tight dramatic structure, deconstructed comedic creature that takes on different shapes and forms and colors, and I'm more at home with clearly structured drama.
Yeah, we're a bit of a clown show. There's some clowning going on.
Yeah, sometimes and sometimes not. And then there are these serious strands woven into it, and it's interesting. So to orient myself was really the most alluring element of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we always talk about how it's such a nice set to be on, sort of uncharacteristically pleasant job. And, I've been there since season 1, so I'm used to it. I know everybody. And I always wonder what it's like for someone who's coming in just for a season and sort of joining this well-oiled machine. Did you find it easy to jump in with all of us?
You're absolutely right. It is an unusually relaxed, open, friendly, mutually supportive atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
It is unusually so. That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
But speaking of the unusual format, so to say, I still cling to what I usually operate with, and that was a change for me, and I have to say that an extremely enriching and horizontal widening experience. It's like they have a different mode. They have a completely different mode, part of which is being so open and friendly and mutually supportive.
And you get to be part of a unit, sort of, in this. You're your own trio. We have our main trio, and then we have you and Renee and Logan. How was it working with the two of them? The dinner scene in episode 4 is so fun when you're all in Oliver's apartment together. And how was creating a relationship with the two of them?
Well, the way it's written is, we're actually each doing our thing, right?
Yeah.
And in competition with each other. So the fact that they are a trio just results from the fact that there are 3 of them, but not because they're together.
They're not united.
Exactly. They're not united. They don't have a common cause. They're more trio because they're working against each other. So speaking of clown show, which is kind of a classical clown setup. That you have a group, but they are all working against each other and playing pranks and against each other.
Yeah. And you're with Steve most of this episode, which is so funny. I mean, I think one of the funniest visual moments of the season is Bash chopping parsley so manically and so.
It's kind of obvious, It's that's kind of easy. That's kind of easy. Yeah.
So you haven't used a cleaver in a while. You know anybody else who might have used a cleaver? Anybody?
Yeah, I like it.
I'm glad.
Are you much of a cook?
Not at all.
Not at all?
No, not at all. I dislike cooking. I am proud to say that I learned from him, and I thought it was. Look, I'm stammering because I don't want to offend anyone else, but that for me, that was, Steve as a person, for me, was the highlight of this whole thing.
Yeah.
To get to know him and to, sort of almost befriend him and share common, that's what you share, but common interests and my fascination with music and my complete ignorance of the musical possibilities of a banjo.
Yeah.
And, he brought the banjo to the set once, and he played these things. And by then, I was told that he's one of the foremost banjo players of the world.
Yeah.
So he played it. And of course, he plays it as the virtuoso he is.
Yeah.
And I said, and fast to me is not a quality in itself.
Right.
I said, can you play something lyrical? And he said, of course I can. I said, would you? He said, yes. I said, well, sorry, I didn't quite, perceive the lyrical element. Could you be more lyrical than that? He said, I said, yeah. And he played on that odd piece of, I don't know what it is.
Like wooden string.
Yeah. He played something truly lyrical. And I was completely overwhelmed because it was truly touching music.
Yeah.
Then I went to see him or hear him at the Hollywood Bowl. He played the Hollywood Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
He did something that is still with me, not all the time, but occasionally. A classic musical clown number. The banjo as the means and manner and way for comedy. Mm-hmm. Music as comedy. And whenever someone says, "Oh, you just worked with Steve Martin," I start raving about this act at the Hollywood Bowl that was enchanting.
No, that's like that. What we were talking about of how the show is uniquely pleasant, and yes, I've been on many unique sets as well that are very pleasant and very lovely to work on. But it's things like that seem per capita so much higher on our show that you get these beautiful moments of humanity from these, icons, I would say. Seeing Steve play the banjo, hearing Marty tell a story. There's just that's part of why for me I feel like it's such a unique thing, because it's not just the work and the story and the people and the crew. It's those little moments of scene behind the curtain which are so special.
Yeah, not little, not to me.
Yeah.
They're big moments. Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about Bash? How would you describe him?
I always stay away from describing characters I play because if you played it well, and I'm not saying if the result is noteworthy, I'm saying if you played it well, you don't really control all the finer threads of a character.
Yeah.
They evolve. They happen. You can't really consciously control a character as it's happening. So I take these things seriously. You see,
I know. I like it.
And so if an actor describes his character, he describes more first of all, what's within his scope to understand, mm-hmm. and second, what's his hope that a possible outcome would be, neither of which is terribly interesting.
Right.
So I stay away from talking about the characters I played because all I can say is I hope more than I am aware of.
Right. Now, see, this is a banjo moment for me. I'm learning so much. I'll never describe a character again.
No, don't.
I won't. No, it makes sense to me though, and I think it's really interesting. I think a lot of people don't think of it that way. Can we touch though on how old we think he is? Do you know how old he is? If I give you a number,
he's probably 127. But
that's what I thought. He lost his virginity to Dorothy Parker.
I guess to a very young Dorothy Parker. In any case, those hints to certain personalities, they are a subtle reminder that people like that actually do exist.
Yeah. Thanks for being with me. I'm glad that we had some time to talk to each other.
Thanks a lot.
Good evening, Camilla White. Oh, isn't this an assaulting amount of everything?
I think that we can all agree that the costumes on Only Murders in the Building are absolutely unforgettable. And costume designer Dana Covarrubias has been nominated for 3 Emmys for her amazing work. So let's talk about costumes. Let's talk about style. Hello, Dana. Welcome.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Good. Thank you for having me.
You look very nice.
Thank you.
Did you put that together yourself?
I did put this together myself. It is inspired by this season, which
very nice.
I'm sure we'll get into.
Yes. Now, I know that every season, generally story-wise, there's a theme. There's overarching sort of ideas. But I also know the same goes for the costume design, that you have inspirations season by season, because I've seen your boards in the room, which are beautiful. What was the inspiration for this season?
So I knew that in this season there was going to be a big casino theme as our trio discovers this, casino that's been hiding under the Arconia for all these years. And that there was also going to be a mob element. And so it was kind of a mix of mobsters, old school mobster vibes, and casino and gambling, and all of that was the overall theme.
This season we got a bunch of new characters, but I want to focus on 3 specific ones. The billionaires. Let's talk about their style and how you landed on it. So let's start with Bash.
Okay. Well, it's a little intimidating to have to design for billionaires when you don't have $1 billion, because that is what they would have.
Right.
So you have to be smart about it. But we definitely had real life inspirations for each of them. I think that the fans will be able to watch and kind of figure out who those people are. But for Bash, we were inspired a little bit by Brian Johnson, but there's also some Mao in there. We did a mix-up of a few different sort of billionaire, a little bit of Dr. Evil, maybe also in there.
I see that completely.
Yeah.
He does seem sort of futuristic.
It's a little futuristic. Yeah, it's a little timeless. He's obsessed with youth and with prolonging his life. And the thought behind that with the costume design was, what is the most efficient way of dressing that would take no time away from your day? And so that would be to have a uniform, And so he just has a closet full of the same type of shirt, the same type of pant, the same type of turtleneck, and he just puts a different one together every day, but they're all very similar and they're very simple. And we had a really fun time in the fittings with Christoph Waltz, who's unbelievable. And, one of the first things we tried on, it actually had a ton of pockets. It's a button front jacket with a bunch of pockets on the front. And he was like, I just don't think my character would need pockets or it's too much business. And so we removed every single pocket from his costume and on his pants. I think he also had pockets on his pants. And that became, and that's how you create in a fitting with an actor. It's like, it's so cool that was his idea. And I'm like, oh, that totally makes sense for that character. Totally. And then moving forward for the whole season, you'll notice when you're watching that there are no pockets on his costumes ever.
Incredible. I had no idea.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes there were some pockets that we couldn't really remove, but they were so streamlined that it seemed like it made sense for the character to still have them. That was fun.
Now, one of my favorites, Camilla.
Camilla, played by Renee Zellweger, was such a blast to design for. It really, where we started with it and where we ended up with it, again, is a testament to what it is to build a character with an actor in a fitting. It's my favorite part of the job, and Renee is such a creative genius, and it was just so fun to build that character with her. But originally, she was inspired by, Martha Stewart a little bit. There's a little bit of Peggy Lee in there. There's a little bit of Anne Margaret in there. We wanted, we wanted to have some sort of vintage retro vibe to her to make her unique, because we didn't want to copy, Martha exactly, or Gwyneth, or, these, women, billionaires who have this very chic, beautiful style. We wanted it to be very unique. So I think that vintage Anne Margaret sort of Peggy Lee vibe set it apart. But that's where we started. And then in the fitting, we came up with all sorts of wacky, weird things. The character's last name is White. And originally, I think the writers were intending for her to only ever wear creams and whites and cashmeres. But in the fitting, we decided, no, I mean, we we don't want the character to feel one-dimensional. You know, she's still a person. And so, we introduced some other pastels, and that felt more in the 50s, 60s world.
Yeah.
And there's another element to her character that we came up with in the fitting, and I can't remember even where the idea came from. I'm trying to remember, but we had all these options of gloves, and we ended up choosing the creepiest ones we could find, which are these cotton, gloves that completely match her skin tone. And so they kind of look like hands, but they're not.
Oh, wow.
And so it's very creepy. And then we also added a little neck scarf that kind of is retro feeling. And then, that all we came up with in the fitting. And then many episodes later, I think, they end up writing about that in the script, and it becomes involved in the plot line. And so it's interesting. It's like we came up with it in the fitting, but then the writers incorporate it later
into the story. And finally, Jay, Logan Lermies. Logan Lerman.
Logan was pretty directly inspired by Zuckerberg, and early Zuckerberg, like when he, was wearing like his cargo shorts and his flip flops and hoodies, and just kind of showing that tech guy who's like super casual, and like he's so rich and he's so confident that he doesn't have to try. Like everyone else in the room is wearing a suit and he's in his flip flops and he's still the boss, and but then we tried some stuff that was very, very casual on him, very like college dude. But then we realized as the episodes were being written that he was, I think you discover in 504 that he is a bit of a love interest for Mabel. And there might be something there. You might see some sparks flying. And so we also wanted to make him attractive. We wanted Mabel to, find him attractive. And so the costume couldn't be too
It could not be
schlubby, bro.
Yeah.
Because it had to make sense that Mabel would be into it. Yeah, Mabel has good taste.
Yeah. Oh, that's fun. There's another character that returns this episode, Thea. Althea. Now, these costumes are bananas. They are so fun. They get better and better as the season goes on. What was the inspiration for Thea?
She's a pop star, and the main inspirations were Sabrina Carpenter and Ariana Grande, kind of mixed, but then just general sort of, there's some Britney in there, there's some Madonna, we just took from all sorts of little bits and pieces from pop stars. But we wanted her to have a signature color, as a lot of pop stars do, so she's just like pink.
Yeah.
She's very girly, bows and sparkly and strawberries, and it's like a little bit like I don't know, it's just very insane. It's a very insane costume and a very insane character.
They're so good.
But I think the idea behind her is that she's really she doesn't know who she is, and so she's just kind of like we did, is desperately grabbing at all these different ideas and all these different inspirations to create her own look as a pop star. And it's not really who she is deep down. And I think that's sort of why Mabel and her have a bit of tension, because Mabel knows who she really is because they grew up together.
Yeah, that makes sense. Mabel, I feel like, is really coming into her own as far as style goes. She's really evolved and sort of become this sort of she's becoming a really strong woman. She's not a kid anymore. How would you say her style has evolved?
Exactly that. I think was our main goal this season, was to show that now she has a bit of money and she has, really embraced this role of being a podcast producer, and she wants to dress the part.
Yeah.
So I think it was that in combination with the inspiration of sort of mobster style.
Yeah.
We did a lot of pinstripes. That's why I wore stripes today and pinstripes today, because we were inspired by that element. And yeah, we just wanted, we did a lot of blazers with strong shoulders, and we did a lot of chic, sort of simple, strong silhouettes on her that I think she just looks, she always looks stunning.
Oh,
I think she looks
always
really stunning this season.
Yeah, really, really incredible job. Do you have an animal?
Yes, I have a dog and a cat.
What is the dog's name?
Noodle Bean.
What would its job be?
Noodle Bean. What would Noodle Bean's job be? Oh my gosh. Trash collector.
Trash man.
Yes, because trash. Because he loves to eat trash.
Great. And what is the other animal's name?
My cat, who is a male, is named Diane Sawyer.
And what would Diane Sawyer's job be?
A news anchor.
Okay, perfect. Okay, great. Do you want to play a game with me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So now it is time for a game called Costume Change, and here's how it works. I'm going to describe an item of clothing or a style, and you are going to tell me who from the Only Murders world would wear that thing. It could be the trio, it could be anybody else in season 5, up to you. Are you ready?
Ready.
Okay.
I think.
Fuzzy heels.
V.
A fedora.
Oh, Charles in like 1992.
Perfect. Teeny tiny little sunglasses.
Teeny tiny little sunglasses. I have no idea. Maybe one of Howard's cats.
Good.
I would think that like Howard would have a whole clothing collection for his animals.
Yes.
Yeah.
I also think maybe Trash Can Miller. Trash Man
yeah,
Miller, I could
yeah.
see in like those little tiny glasses.
Yes. Well, his whole thing was that he was stealing clothes that were coming down the trash chute, and so you'll notice, he's wearing bits and pieces of other people's costumes.
Howard's,
Oliver's scarves and
cargo pants.
Logan's character Jay.
Head to toe denim.
Oh, no one.
Ursula off hours.
Oh, Ursula.
Ursula off hours.
Yes, I could do that.
Head to toe leather.
Oh, Howard.
Howard off hours.
Yeah.
Howard is a little like worked up this season.
Yeah.
He needs a little attention. A wallet chain.
Oh, wait, I do think we gave someone a wallet chain at one point. Paul Rudd's character had a wallet chain.
Ben Glenroy.
Yes, Ben Glenroy had a wallet chain.
Who else would wear a wallet chain? KT, the stage manager from season 3.
Oh, yes,
yep.
KT.
Ring of Keys. A yellow plaid suit.
Mabel,
for sure. That screams Mabel. A floor-length black velvet cape.
Oliver.
Yeah,
Oliver,
that's so
for
Oliver.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, that was a fun game that we completely made up. Well, thank you so much for being here. You make the show look so amazing.
Thank you.
May you always get nominated for Emmys and always work on everything I do and always make me look so good. Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
And see you soon.
Okay, thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, that's it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you haven't already, subscribe and follow us wherever you're listening or watching from. Leave us a little rating or a review. Go into the comments, talk about who you think did the murder and who you think is going to be murdered next. And join us next week when we talk to the Arconia's new doorman, Randall, played by the hilarious Jermaine Fowler. Actor David Patrick Kelly, who plays a mysterious and never-before-seen character, and writers Ben Smith and JJ Filden. See you next week, and until then, don't get killed. Watch and listen to Only Murders in the Building official podcast, available on Hulu and wherever you get your podcasts. And don't miss Only Murders in the Building, now streaming on Hulu and Hulu on Disney+.